The January sub battle is beginning to wind down here, and we are just behind our Titans channel. I think we can catch them today and today alone. Help us win that battle. Let's not come in last among the Chat Sports channels. When you subscribe, you get more free Bengals videos as well, so there's really no reason not to. Hit that sub button right now. We begin with more Tee Higgins conversation. This will not be going away. It'll be a key storyline for the next month and a half-ish, somewhere in that range. The latest update is Deshaun Watson wants the Browns to sign Tee Higgins because, of course, he does, because he has to have more help and be carried than maybe Joe Burrow does. The Bengals, as we discussed previously, are reportedly open to using the franchise tag on Tee Higgins. Paul Dennis had some good information on that we've discussed previously on the show. I will make notes. If the Browns wanted to, they do have the salary cap space to afford Tee Higgins. They can be aggressive and move more money around than I think this organization in Cincinnati is ever really going to be willing to do. Now, here's what Watson said on part of his podcast with his quarterback's coach, which maybe you don't love. Here's what he said, the pitch to Tee Higgins, so to speak. We want to pass the ball. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pass the ball a lot. We're going to take good care of you. The Cleveland fans are going to love you to death. We got the Clemson ties. We ain't get to play with each other, but this is our opportunity. So, man, come on over to the Lamb. First off, shut up, massage boy. No one cares what you think. Go get your own wide receiver. You got Elijah Moore and Amari Cooper. Yeah, they want one more because you're not good enough. Why would Tee Higgins, if the money is even, or even close to even, go play for I would argue, substantially worse quarterback? Deshaun Watson got outplayed by Joe Flacco this season. Can we just mention that again one time? So I have no love for the Cleveland Browns in the organization, and certainly not their quarterback. If you hate the Browns, spam FCLE in the comment section. In fact, take advantage of the potential ad break that comes here on YouTube and do it for me right now. And if you're my mother-in-law who loves the Browns, do it anyway. FCLE in the comments section. I will make note, this was a popular screenshot floating around on social media. Tee Higgins follows Elijah Moore and Deshaun Watson. He also follows guys like CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs, and I don't think that means he's going to go to the Cowboys anytime soon. He follows several other, and he follows Gabe Davis. Is he going to go join up with him? No, of course not. I would. It's the offseason. We know how that tends to go. I would not read very much into it around Tee Higgins and who he's following on social media. What I would read into are these comments from de facto GM Duke Tobin for Cincinnati. On Tee Higgins, he's not under contract now, so we're going to have to work through how to do that, and if it's possible, and we'll have to go through the gymnastics of that. So it's a different scenario than what it was last year. Trading a high-level player that's under contract just because the future might demand it, that's never really on my mind. We'll see what happens this year. I want Tee Higgins back. Everyone on our team would like to have Tee Higgins back. Again, there's one pie and how big of a slice that takes and what else we can't do because of it, we'll have to determine, and we will see. Now, I think Higgins is back for 2024. I think the Bengals find a way to make this work, find a way to make the money work, at least in the short term. You can always make more pie. I've made that point many times on multiple shows. For the way the Bengals choose to operate, the pie ingredients are a little bit more limited than other organizations. So beyond 2024, who knows? But when your quarterback comes out and says, my expectation is Tee Higgins is back, unless they don't tag him, which I'd be kind of surprised by at this stage, I think he'll be back under contract for the 2024 season. A longer-term deal would be awesome. I won't have my hopes up quite as high for that one. So prediction time for only this upcoming season. Where will Tee Higgins play? B for the Bengals or O for other? Sound off for me in the comment section right now. While you are down in that comment section, make sure you click the link for Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy made easy over at prizepicks.com/CLNS. You simply pick 2 to 6 player stat projections, more than or less than on those two picks and projections. And if you get them all right or get the flex play, get 2 out of 3 right, you come out on top. I do have a Super Bowl prize pick slate here. You might not like it if you hate the Chiefs, which I totally get. I'm taking the freebie more than Patrick Mahomes passing yards, Christian McCaffrey more than 88.5 yards on the ground, and Travis Kelce more than 7 catches. I think those matchups are pretty solid for the opposing teams that they play. Now, when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and you use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100, you will get the first deposit match up to $100. Link's going to be in the comment section and the description of today's show. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. Now, kind of maybe a slight reach of a rumor, but we'll do it anyway. Jermaine Eluemunor, anti-Chiefs tweet, says he wants to beat them when it matters. Sports Illustrated did the, mean to us player for the Bengals. We're stretching there. But this actually does make a little bit of sense. I think it is worth having a conversation about, just like Sports Illustrated did. Jonah Williams is a free agent. I don't think he's back in Cincinnati. I think you might be surprised how much money he gets on the open market, because starting good, even just average starting offensive tackles, don't hit the open market all that often, especially guys that were a former first-round pick. Eluemunor might not be as expensive. This is what he tweeted out the other day. You can call me a hater. I don't care. I don't like the Chiefs at all. We beat them this year. Yeah, cool. I want to beat them when it matters. Don't care who comments on this, players, fans. I don't care. Congrats to them for making the Super Bowl, but I hope I get the opportunity to beat you when it matters. Now, making that specifically about the Bengals, I think is a stretch. There's nothing about them mentioned. Yes, Joe Burrow's the only active QB who has beaten the Bengals. His team has. Like, other quarterbacks haven't played well against the Chiefs. I mean, we did watch Josh Allen play great and come short there. But this type of player actually does make sense for the Bengals. This is the type of move that if the money does fit, I think would make a lot of sense. Basically was a full-time starter for the Raiders this past year, 905 snaps. Okay numbers. 6 sacks, a little high, 6 hits, a little high, 16 hurries, not that bad, actually. The run blocking grade was pretty good. Given what I would argue is the lack of general hype around Jermaine Eluemunor, who he's bounced around the NFL. He got like $3 million from the Raiders this past year. He's going to enter his age 30 season, I believe. I don't think he's going to be a high-end, massively expensive offensive tackle option, which makes sense for the Bengals, because if you're not going to pay big money to Jonah Williams, you're not going to pay big money to somebody else. But what you'd like to do is set yourself up this offseason to have an option at right tackle. Somebody who, if you started the season, before the draft, you had a viable option that's not named Jackson Carman or Deontay Smith. But also, it doesn't prevent you from drafting one. If you can get him for $5 million, that's probably going to be literally like a third of the cost of Jonah Williams. That's awesome, because if the right tackle falls to you, you can still take that guy. It is also very tough to find that type of player. The offensive line market is the demand almost always outweighs the supply. So Eluemunor could get a little bit more. Maybe a team more desperate makes him a starter. Who knows? But if it is affordable, would you sign a player like Jermaine Eluemunor? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comments section right now. One option at the right tackle draft side is Tyler Guyton. High upside offensive tackle. Early on, very positive buzz for him at the Senior Bowl. Now, as part of a fairly lengthy Q&A with the Cincinnati Enquirer, which also was just like, we'll see on a lot of the answers, he did say trenches were a priority, which it should be. The offensive line and defensive line are huge concerns, for most teams, but specifically for this Bengals team and the way they're built and their strengths and weaknesses. We'll spend some more time here on Guyton in particular. But who do you want to draft in round 1 of the 2024 NFL Draft? Get those early answers in for me right now in the comments. Now, Guyton did not allow a sack last year. at Oklahoma. 12 hurries allowed total. Didn't play the full set of games. That's certainly okay. His run blocking grade was not great. This is a maybe not developmental, but upside player. He's a great athlete, and his measurements are fascinating. 6'7" and 1/8 of an inch, great size. 328 with probably room to add more weight if you needed him to. 10-inch hands, 34.25-inch arms. He checks off all the size boxes you want. I think the athletic ability is really good. That's a very worthwhile first-round pick investment, even if some of the technique and experience stuff there needs a little bit more growth and development. It's a good offensive line class in general, by the way. Not in any order, but Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton, Jordan Morgan, J.C. Latham, Taliese Fuaga. One of those guys is going to be gone, but several of them should be there. Kingsley Suamataia, Patrick Paul could be maybe more round 2 picks if they slide. Interior line is even a good group. Jackson Powers Johnson, Graham Barton, Troy Fontenot. I would not be mad if the Bengals went trench in round 1, round 2, maybe even both on offensive line. It's a good class that shapes up that way. I think bodes very well for Cincinnati.